Hey there! Welcome to a brand new episode of Muzikxpress. My name is Twan, and in this week's vlog you will see my interview with Andrew Rayel about his classic 550 Senta. But before we start with the interview, please make sure to subscribe to my channel, and very important, also make sure to click the bell button, because then you will get a notification the next time a new vlog is online. Alright, here it is, the story behind 550 Senta, my interview with Andrew Rayel. Enjoy! Andrew Rayel is a DJ and producer from Moldova. He studied orchestral music, and from a very early age he started with producing music as well. You might know Andrew from releases such as How Do I Know, Dark Warrior, Horizon, and of course 550 Senta. For this week's vlog I sat down with Andrew Rayel to ask him about the story behind 550 Senta and more. My first question to him was around what age he started to listen to music.
Oh, well, listening to music in general.
Yeah.
Listening to music in general, that would probably be very, very early age. I wouldn't even remember because my dad specifically was into music. Not necessarily very deep into music, but he had one of these old boom boxes with a lot of cassette tapes. And he was listening to music, and then we kind of, me and my brother, my older brother, we kind of put our hands onto that and starting buying cassette tapes.
Yeah. And do you remember some of the bands or acts you were listening to?
Yeah, Linkin Park. That was the first cassette tape we bought, me and my brother. And we actually, when I say we, it's always me and my brother, because we kind of were together all the time at that age, and we were listening to music together. We discovered the music together. And we started with rock. We were listening to Linkin Park, Nightwish, Rammstein. Those were the first bands that we really enjoyed and bought their cassette tapes.
Yeah.
Playing it all day long and re-listening and knowing every single note, every single element from those songs.
Yeah. And around what age did you start listening to electronic dance music?
Electronic dance music probably came around 2000s. And it came mostly from one of our cousins, which was, so my brother was 2 years older, and my cousin was probably like 5 or 6 years older. So he already was more into computers. I kind of even remember if he owned one or he was using somebody else's computer. So he already he was already listening to Tiesto at that time. He was getting those records, and every time we would come visit him, since he was living close by my parents, he would like, oh, check out this record, check out this record. He also had a boombox, and there was a radio. I think it was Kiss FM. During those old days, I'm not sure which one, because there's many radios named Kiss FM, and they were playing ATV, 9 p.m. They were playing Paul Van Dyk for an Angel, all those big trance classics around early 2000s.
Yeah.
So he would record some of those on his cassette tapes. So he had like there was this function where you press 2 buttons. And you can record on your tape everything that's being played over the radio. Yeah. So he would record the tracks he likes, and then every time we'd visit, he'd be like, "Oh, check this out!
Yeah.
These records and these records." And that's pretty much how we started discovering electronic dance music. Later on was as I said, the computers. He started downloading some songs, and also we didn't own a computer, so every time we would come, we would play games, like all the basic games around that time, and then in the background he would play some music.
Yeah.
I can't remember one single time when we would play a game with like the original game music,
Yeah.
There was always something playing.
Exactly. The false other music.
Yeah. So there's like either some Tiesto sets or Paul Van Dyk sets recorded from somewhere, and we were like kind of absorbing that electronic dance music.
Yeah. So you studied orchestral music, and you started producing music when you were just 13 years old.
Yeah.
So how long did you study music for?
I started music 7 years of basic piano in school. So when I was learning, when I was in basic school, it wasn't in the same school, so I had to visit a different school, which wasn't near close to the main one. So after the lessons around 2 p.m. I had to go and study piano, solfeggio, and all the technicality over there. 7 years, yeah.
So when did you start with making music yourself?
So I started going to the musical school when I was 9 years old, in the 3rd grade. I can specifically remember that. I didn't go since the beginning of the year. I joined kind of almost in the mid-year. And usually they wouldn't accept kids at that time. They'll be like, well, come, September 1st or like a few weeks before, because you got to do an audition to get accepted into the school. It's basic, like it's rhythm and some melody and just basic stuff. And my parents kind of insisted, and they did that whole test for me, and they were kind of really happy with what they saw. And they're like, okay, we'll take me. In that case, they took me into the musical school in the mid-year, and I started learning, and from what I remember, a lot of my colleagues in the same class were way younger. So we were not all the same age. I was in 3rd grade. There's a lot of 1st graders, so parents would send them to the school and to the musical school at the same time, and it was very hard for them. They started learning only basic stuff, and on top of that there was the whole music stuff. I was already way ahead of them, and I was way faster on learning everything, and that's why it was way easier for me to move throughout those lessons and years. And 7 years, exams every 6 months with people in front of you. You got to play your part, and people that studied. They know how it works.
Yeah. So, but like when you made like your own electronic music, when was that? When you started with that?
I started around 13 years old. So that's what's that? That's 4 years into my musical school. Yeah. So pretty much during that whole musical school study, I was never a huge fan of learning other people's songs. So we were learning a lot of classical pieces. A lot of Mozart, Chopin, depending on which year, which level of composition was that. So of course I learned all of those because I had to do my exam part, but I was never a big fan of that. So I was always on the side creating my own melodies, writing them with the paper, with the pen on the paper and everything. And it was pretty hard, pretty time consuming. I would lose those papers, and at that time, one of my friends came with a CD, and he said he got it from another friend. And at that time, I already had a computer, and he was like, "Well, I accessed the CD, something with music." He was not into music. He was like, "I know you learn in musical school. Just check it out. See, maybe there's something for you." And there was like a bunch of samples there. There was Fruity Loops, 3-point something. I don't remember. So I opened that. I started researching, what is this? How can I record my music? And I realized that's much easier for what I was creating. I don't have to keep papers. I don't have to draw. Everything is being saved there. It's much easier for me to record and then share what I've done.
Yeah.
Because, when I was playing with the piano, I could show that only to somebody who was coming to my house, and you're like, oh, this is what I've created. So I started just, pressing buttons. I had no clue what anything was doing. It's just like you press something, it does something, you like kind of learn.
Yeah, along the way how it works.
Yeah, and a lot of those first 3-4 years was just learning from trying and pressing things.
Yeah.
I didn't speak English at that time at all, so obviously the whole interface was in English. I couldn't understand much. So you just press things, hey, file, save, load.
Yeah.
Start learning basic words, and started making my own demos, saving them, showing them to people. While people were playing soccer and running around outside, I was just on my computer and making music, trying to make something. And everybody was like, "Yeah, it's cool, but what's he gonna make with his computer and so the software?"
Do you recall your very first ever release?
My first very release, so before my Andrew Rayel project, which is still going on, luckily enough, up until now, I had a few other nicknames, and my first release was under RINDRY, Rendry. So I think it was a Spanish label. So it was already a level where I understood that there's like record labels, they release music, I need to send my music. Me and my brother used to spend like nights, 3-4 hours a night to research emails and then spam them all with my new records. I was doing an hour and then he was doing an hour of just like typing the same email and sending up until we got something like from a Spanish label, which threw in like the weirdest and most basic picture on it, and probably wrote the title in Microsoft Word on top of it, and like release on Beatport. And yeah, we were very happy to see it on platforms.
Yeah, exactly. That must have been pretty cool.
Yeah. And Juno Download at that time, and like Beatport.
So what was the name of the track?
The first one, I think it was the light, something with the light. It's the light or the light or something like that.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you can still find it online. I think I've released like 2 or 3 records on that label, like one after another. Yeah. And then we came up with Andrew Rayel and everything.
And then it started to happen. Yeah. So for this walk, we're going to talk about your track 550 Senta, which came out in 2011. First things first, was there anything that did inspire you when you started to work on the track?
Definitely, I was inspired by the classical music I was listening at that time. I was listening to a lot of Hans Zimmer. Definitely got inspired by Gaia, by Armin, because I was going towards that sound. So everything that was released under Gaia, especially like Tuvan and Aisha, those 2 tracks were like my 2 favorites.
Yeah.
Around that time, I was listening to them a lot, and I was kind of getting that vibe and inspiration from those 2 tracks.
Yeah.
But funnily enough, this track would have probably not happened, and as my whole career would have probably not happened, because I had like a point in my life where it could have gone one way or the other. And because of that track 550 Senta would have not happened, and I don't know, the rest of the career probably would have not happened, because it all lies into each other every step. And it all comes when I finished the musical school, and then I finished the musical school before I finished my we call it the lyceum, so it's a sort of college.
Yeah.
So 12th grade, right? I finished it before that. It was like a year or 2 difference, and then after that I had to choose a university where to go. So I always thought I would go into the music, and I chose a few universities around Europe, which I sent my application to, and one of them was University Romania, the National Musical University of Bucharest. It's actually considered one of the best musical universities in Europe. Very serious stuff, and I got accepted there, and I was very happy.
Yeah.
And I went there. I went to Bucharest, and I did another test exam there. It was like 3 or 4 parts. It was like one just technical playing stuff. The other one was theory. the other one was I had to create something and present it to them. So it was like I think like 2 weeks of only going through all these exams and tests to be fully accepted to the university. And at the end, I got accepted. I was a little bit behind everybody because I didn't do a musical college. So usually for musicians that go into musical university, you got to do 7 years or 5 years, depending on which instrument you choose, of basic musical school. Then you do a musical college, 3 or 4 years. And then you go into the musical university. It's like an evolution. I skipped the college. So I did just the school, and I went straight into this. And I was behind everybody, but they were like, you're good with what you have. We like some parts of what you already have. And we're going to give you extra lessons for you to catch up with everybody else. And because of this whole thing, my schedule looked, so I had to wake up at 7 in the morning. At 8, I had to start my lessons. And around 9 p.m. every day, I would have to finish these lessons every day, including, I think, a half a day of Saturday. And I did this for a month.
Wow.
So it was what I had to learn in university, plus all my catching up lessons. So I was doing college and university at the same time. And after like this whole month, I realized that, and I went to the hardest and craziest, faculty? The classical composition, which is like the most, people that are into music probably know it's like the hardest one to learn. And after I did this whole month, 8 to 9, and then when I'd get back to where I was staying, it's like what do you call it in English, where all the students
all the students are staying, like dorm students.
Whatever dorm. They were all from the same musical universities, just from different faculties, different instruments, and everybody was rehearsing from 9 p.m. or 10 p.m. Like they would get back to their rooms, have dinner or whatever, and everybody would put their headphones and start rehearsing on their instruments. And if you'd open your window or your door at the balcony, it would be the most chaotic. And some people would stay till like 1 or 2 a.m. So you wouldn't be even, like, I wasn't even able to sleep normally because it was like everybody trying to rehearse to be okay. And then at 2 a.m. everybody stops. At 6 a.m. everybody opens, maybe wakes up, and then maybe you rehearse just another 30 minutes, breakfast, and then everybody back to the lesson. So it's like a very, very intense
experience.
Yeah. And after a month of doing all of this, I said, well, this is not what I really want, because at that point I already had a couple of releases on Armada. I had the Ether track that Armin supported very intensely in his live sets. I had a Deflagration release on a State of Trance at that point. So I had some things going on already. And in that whole month, I didn't spend 1 single second in any studio or by the computer. I didn't have a laptop to create my music. My computer was back home. I thought I was going to figure something out, maybe go to a studio somewhere, but it just didn't work out. Not even for me to have enough time.
There was no time
at all.
Yeah.
So I decided that this is not what I want. I want to create music. I want to make music, and this is just way too much for that for me. And I went back home.
Yeah,
I said that's enough. I went back to my parents' apartment where I had my studio, my computer, and 2 small monitors and a little keyboard. The keyboard was big because I needed it.
Yeah.
And the first week when I came back from that, I created the melody for 550 Senta. Like literally the first 4 or 5 days when I came back, because it was so long for me. I didn't create or produce anything. I got all this energy, inspiration, and I was spending all this time, and I just put it into that record. And at that time, Armin was doing the contest for a State of Trance 550 anthem.
Yeah.
So, knowing that and having all this energy, like I was very inspired to create something interesting, something special, something melodic, to send it for this contest, because it was a contest. You could submit your record for the anthem. And when I finished it, I submitted it through that official website. There was a website where you could send your record. And then I was just waiting to see
what would happen.
What will happen. At some point, I saw that my track was not chosen. There was like, I think there were like 5 records, and people started voting. There was a whole process system where people could vote. Mm-hmm. But my track wasn't in that selection. So I sent it separately to Armada, just through my other connection. I think at that time was still Ruben A&R. I don't remember, because I went through so many A&Rs. My first A&R was Ruben Duran at Armada. But then quickly somebody else took over his position. And they signed it, they loved it. And apparently later I found out that my track didn't even make it into their shortlist. Yeah. They didn't even see it, so it didn't. I don't know. Was there a technical error? So it wasn't sent to them. They didn't receive it at all.
Oh wow!
So they never received it. So potentially, if it would have made it there, if it was somebody listened to it, maybe could have been at least in that shortlist or something. But by some reason, it didn't even got to them. Yeah. Right. And obviously, I named it, something related to 550, because it was the whole 550 thing, and I wanted to be very creative. And I thought very well about it. And I found this list on Wikipedia, which has. It's a huge list of minor planets surrounding orbiting sun, and it was like literally like thousands of planets, and each one was very numbered. I specifically found the 550 one, and it was 550 Senta. And bingo. And I don't know why later on, maybe because it was released in December, I don't know, a lot of people were calling it Santa. Oh. And that was making me so upset. Every time I would see, oh wow, I love your Santa track. I'm like, what do you mean? I've put so much thought into this, so much concept, and you're calling it Santa. Yeah. Like for years, I would still see comments on internet where people would call it.
Oh really?
Yeah, people would call it either 550, just 550, or Santa. Like there was not many people just put the whole freaking thing together as it was meant to be. Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. I didn't know that, because I remember listening to A State of Trance, and then I think Armin phoned you up to talk about the track. I do remember that.
Yeah, I was back home. I was walking through a park. I think with some of my friends or something. I saw this like. International number, like, okay, what is this? And then obviously you can still find probably that recording somewhere on the internet. My English was very
but you were very excited, I remember that.
I was very excited, absolutely. Of course. Yeah.
So how long did it take you to finish the track?
Around that time, a track would take me about a month and a half, 2 months, just to finish. It was way slower than we do it nowadays. Yeah. Nowadays, like 3-4 hours, you could.
Yeah, and have you trouble? You just mentioned you had Fruity Loops, so I guess it was made in Fruity.
That one was made in Fruity Loops. Yes.
Yeah. So no actual like hardware or stuff.
No hardware, no nothing. It was a bunch of very weird and old synths. A bunch of samples that also, like, God knows where I found those. I was crafting them, manipulating them in all sorts of ways. But yeah, that was one of the last records that I made, and I think Aeon of Revenge, or around that time, was the last records I made in Fruity Loops. Then I jumped into Cubase.
Okay. So Armin was a big supporter of the track. Do you remember which other DJs did support the track?
Oh man, at that time, I can't even recall. I think obviously Armin was the main act who supported the track. It's hard to say. I don't even remember, to be honest. I think a lot of people played it in their radio shows when people still had a lot of trance DJs had radio shows.
Yeah. So, what's your favorite memory when it comes to the release of 550 Senta?
I mean, obviously the phone call. Obviously, the fact that ultimately, at some point, it became the unofficial anthem. That's I think even Armin called it this way.
Yeah,
the unofficial anthem of that 550 episode, because so many people were reacting and so many people were writing comments about it, and it was like, well, I guess we have to.
Yeah.
We have to take it into the consideration, and up until today, still a lot of people enjoy it, and still
still a really good track. Do you still play it in your sets, or?
In the past 3 years, I've played it a couple of times, and at the end of my set, in some specific shows where I knew there were a bunch of people that would appreciate,
like as an encore.
Yeah, as in like a song that they really know, as in a classic, and closing the set with that.
Yeah. So what are you working on right now?
Right now is always music, is trying different directions. I've just released a song which is more Euro dance, old school trance influenced. It's called Euphoria. So it's also like very fast, a little bit cheesy in a way. I have a track signed with Armin, which is more techno influenced, The Abyss. He played it in a state of trance. I have a collaboration with New Year. They also played it in their state of trance set, and just a bunch of singles.
Yeah.
I'm trying now different directions. I'm still keeping, by the way, that sound, and I forgot to mention, for that sound I've created an alias, if you wanna name it that way, Ether. Because 550 Senta actually had two mixes.
Yeah.
Most of the people know the Ether.
Exactly.
The Ether mix.
Yeah.
But that was the second mix that I've created. The original mix sounds very different. It still has the same melody, but it's way more energetic and trancey. And that one was inspired by Orjan's remix of Arctic Glow.
Oh yeah.
Because it also has that rolling saw bass.
And
so I made that, and then I was like, I came up with the other feeling and the more Gaia style, and I was like, okay, I'll release both mixes, and this one was the one. But a lot of people don't even know that there's another mix.
Then take the Ether mix, the original mix. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So I'm still keeping alive that project, the Ether project. 2 years ago, I've released. I felt inspired again to create something more classical. So I made Ascended and Paradisum. I think it came out really, really well, and a lot of people enjoyed it. And just a few months ago now, I released another Ether song, Memoria Eterna. Also with that 550 Senta, if you want to call it, old school Andrew Rayel sound. Very epic, very complicated melody. A lot of it takes a lot of because a lot of people, you should release an album, if you would only know how much it takes to create one song like that. If the other stuff, I can make a song in one day or like a week, that's like months of finding the right melody, the right samples, the right arrangement. It just takes a lot of time to make one track like that. And now I understand why people don't make tracks like that anymore. Because you have to release a lot of tracks nowadays to be relevant. And if it takes that long, then it will be just So are there still genres you never produced but that you would love to do someday? I don't know, hardstyle maybe.
Yeah, would be fun.
Yeah, I really enjoy hardstyle. I don't see myself making hardstyle right now, but it would be fun to try to see. Yeah. But I enjoy a lot of hardstyle, like the Headhunters and Sub-Zero Project, the Church. It's called the Church. This is our church. What a melody there! That could be totally remade. That melody into like an Aether song for me.
Yeah. So is that also the kind of music you listen to in your spare time?
No. So in my spare time, I listen to everything in electronic dance music, from melodic techno into trance, big room trance, uplifting, the new techno, fast techno, rave stuff. It excites me all, and I just listen to different sets from different artists, different festivals, and just anything that inspires me. And
that's good.
It's good to go.
Yeah. So what else can we expect from you in the near future?
Well, I'm working really, really hard on my Find Your Harmony label. I'm releasing a lot of my latest stuff on my label Find Your Harmony. So this is kind of the focus right now. We're also celebrating the Find Your Harmony 400 very soon in a month, so April 24th. And we have a celebration back home in May for that, and we're working a few shows around the globe, just like we do every year. We select a couple of spots where it makes sense, and we bring a few artists from the label and make a show, a celebration for everybody. So Find Your Harmony is kind of one of the main directions I'm focused right now.
You're pretty busy, like making music, a radio show, the label.
Making music, radio show every week. It takes one full day, and it's so much work to put it together, and sometimes they take off the radio show because of one song.
Oh yeah, the copyright strikes.
Yeah, and it's insane how this whole system works, because you agree with these labels that they're not gonna take it. Like they let you play it in their emails. They're like, yeah, you're good to go, everything's fine, no problem. And then the system takes it out, and then if it's taken out, then all the views and everything just goes to nothing.
All your hard work,
all your hard work, and not just because of one song, And it's a lot of effort, a lot of time.
Yeah.
But there's no gain without the pain.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. And the last question: pineapple on pizza, yes or no?
Well, I've discovered not so long ago that I have intolerance to pineapple, so no pineapple for me at all.
No? Okay. Yeah. Well, thank you very much for your time, and good luck with everything.
Thank you so much, man. Appreciate it.
Alright, that was it. This week's vlog, my interview with Andrew Rayel, and the story behind 550 Senta. Andrew, thanks a lot for your time. Much appreciated. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the vlog. If you did, make sure to give this video a like. Leave a comment in the comment section below, and very important, make sure to subscribe. Also make sure to click the bell button, because then you will get a notification the next time a new vlog is online. Once again, thanks for watching, and until next time, bye bye.